The House is planning investigations of Donald Trump's potential illegal behavior later this year, but don't worry, Donald, it's not impeachment just yet. Instead, the House Judiciary Committee is planning on holding hearings on hush money payments made to Stormy Daniels and Karen McDougal ahead of the 2016 election. If you don't remember the details, Daniels alleges that she had an affair with Trump back in 2006, and Michael Cohen paid her $130,000 to keep her from speaking about it publicly ahead of the election. McDougal, a former Playboy model who also says she had an affair with Trump, was paid $150,000 by National Enquirer parent company American Media Inc. as part of a catch and kill scheme in which the company paid for her story and then buried it. No word yet on whether McDougal plans to participate in these investigations, but Stormy Daniels apparently does. She tweeted, "I have no fear of being under oath because I have been and will be honest. Bring it." And so this could potentially be an exciting development for Donald Trump and for those who care about his potential campaign finance violations. Joining us now to discuss, progressive activist Jordan Ewell. Welcome back to the Damage Report.
John, thank you for having me.
Always glad to have you here. So when you saw that this would be one of the investigation focuses of the Democrats in the House, what was your impression?
So I think that by taking on this issue, it shows that the Democrats are still holding on to a faint glimmer of hope regarding like the Mueller investigation and the 2016 and issues arising out of the 2016 election. One thing that I think is important to note that as this involves a potential campaign finance violation, Trump has left vacancies on the FEC board almost intentionally, so now they are completely unable to vote. So reaching a determination of whether this constitutes a campaign finance violation, if it goes before the FEC, there's no possibility of that now if he intentionally leaves those positions vacant. But that also spells disaster for other potential campaign violations as we enter 2020. And when you have this issue that people are worried about campaign finance violations on the Trump campaign, you see at the same time an issue arising on the right where they're trying to weaponize accusations against Ilhan Omar, and they don't seem to be concerned about the almost parallel issue on the Trump campaign. So I think we need to kind of step back collectively and assess whether these issues are material to the national interest, whether they are worth pursuing, and how do we go from here?
That's a weird coincidence that he just hasn't found the time to put people on that particular board. It's weird, that oversight. But I am curious, how serious do you think this could potentially be for Trump? So we know that Michael Cohen pled guilty to charges related to this. He says that he did all of this at the direction of Donald Trump. So hypothetically, Donald Trump could also face these charges, but we know that apparently nothing seems to stick. Nobody seems to care about anything. So do you think that this is likely to ever provide any real challenge to the president?
Oh, I don't think it would provide a real or be a real challenge to the president. I think this is just Democrats wanting to, sling some mud before 2020, kind of smear him a little bit. I don't think this would lead to anything close to impeachment. I think the issue is, as other legal experts have pointed out, whether this constitutes a civil case or a felony is determined by whether or not he had like a knowing, he knew what he was doing. There was a criminal intent here. That might be difficult to prove. I do think that this is kind of a gateway to other financial records. I think they're kind of using this to get access to other bank records, financial transactions, that kind of stuff, and follow those investigations, just using this as kind of a springboard.
Yeah, that is certainly possible. I noticed that Donald Trump has lashed out at his critics in the past day or two on a number of different topics. This has been out there for about a day now. He hasn't yet mentioned it, which means to me either he doesn't feel threatened by it at all, doesn't think he needs to attack it, or he's actually listening to his lawyers in this matter. I think the former is probably more likely. We know, of course, that he lied about his knowledge of the payments, so that's significant. But I wonder, is it possible that, like I haven't seen any indication that Nancy Pelosi is leading this, but she doesn't want any serious talk of impeachment, that this perhaps could be used as sort of a placeholder, like you want us to do something investigating the president, I don't want to push for impeachment, so let's give them the hush money thing, which is safer, maybe?
Yeah, possibly. And as you point out, Pelosi has been kind of hands off when it comes to impeachment. If you also look at the rate in which House members have called for an impeachment inquiry. It's been almost like a steady progression of one a day for the past few months. So this might be part of this kind of overall gradual strategy, just not to cause alarm by doing everything all at once, just a slow buildup, and maybe then we get to that point.
Yeah, I feel like everyone is waiting out the clock, and I find it to be incredibly frustrating considering all that's going on in our country. For more political news, breakdowns, interviews, stories of activism, and me trying my hardest to care about the occasional big celebrity news story, subscribe to our YouTube channel at youtube.com/The Damage Report. And you can ring the bell wherever it is so you don't miss anything.